What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the David and Goliath podcast. This is episode 4. This one will mainly be talking about what has went down in the NCAA tournament. Obviously, the finale, Kansas winning it all, UNC making a great run, great game out of it. I know Dalton, you were at work most of the time. I don't know. Was you? You wasn't at work during the championship game, though, was you?
What day was the championship on again?
The
I
fourth.
forget.
So that was a Monday. Yeah, Monday.
I was at work. Yes, I was at work
Yeah,
on Monday.
yeah. It was a really good game. It was honestly a really good tournament for everything's considered. Like all the teams that were in it, just a lot of close games, some blowouts. Obviously, that's gonna happen in a tournament, But yeah, anything's possible. Obviously, you've seen the run by St. Peter's. You've seen UNC going honestly farther than honestly a lot of my UNC uh, friends that are fans thought they would go this year. What's your
They
opinion on the whole
definitely
thing?
pulled an upset.
Oh yeah,
I I agree 100% about it being a great tournament. Even though I didn't get to watch a lot of the games, I did keep up with the scores and I did watch highlights.
yeah.
I was very impressed with North Carolina. Honestly, didn't think they were going to win. Not gonna lie, I thought Kansas had it in the bag. It was a close game, as you said.
Mhm.
Both teams played as cohesive units. There wasn't really one person that carried the load for either team.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking at the stats here, the box score. We had, let's see, for North Carolina, they had 5 people in double digits.
Mhm.
And then on Kansas side, one, two, three, four. They also had 5 people
So it was
in
a
double
pretty
digits.
even.
So
It was an even game.
very much so.
Mhm.
And it came down to the wire too. It was a very close game,
If you were
a
watching
nail biter.
at halftime, you thought North Carolina had it in the bag. Because I did. I thought they had it in the bag at halftime. They were up
Right?
by 15.
Yeah,
They
they
played
did have a
good.
big lead. They choked the lead. Kansas fought their way back into the game, but they just couldn't end up pulling it out.
Kansas is also a second half team too. In every game in this NCAA tournament, their second half is clearly outshined their first half, and I think everyone will agree on that one.
I'm sorry, I worded that wrong. They did
Yeah,
pull it out. They were able to fight back and pull it out.
yeah,
North Carolina let it slip away.
and I mean that happens. Teams,
It does.
I think Baycott getting hurt with the last minute of the game kind of hurt them because they still had a chance. They still had a chance to close it out, and with him rolling his ankle again, I mean, I respect him for getting out there and playing, even on a bum leg. He said it had to be cut off for him to, not play, and he still got 15 and 15. So he did his job out there, for sure. Even though he didn't
Right.
shoot that good, but still, he was there. He was a force on the court.
I
And
mean, how old of a team are we talking here? Both on both sides of these. Do they have a lot of upperclassmen or are these freshmen? Because I'm not sure.
uh, I know Manic is a fifth year senior or sixth year senior. Baycott's a junior. R.J. Davis, I think, I think he might be an upperclassman too, at least a sophomore. His thing is not loading up for me.
R.J. Davis, he went 0 of 5 from the 3-point line. He still got his double double though. Got 15 and 12.
Yeah, Leaky Black, obviously senior, been there. He only scored 2, but I mean, yeah, what are you gonna do? In Kansas, with the Kansas side of it, they had a junior. Braun was a junior. Wilson sophomore. Jalen Wilson, that is. McCormick senior. So I mean, it was a pretty upperclassman team. Sophomores and seniors on both sides. Then you had Remy Martin. He was a senior transfer. He the last 2 times he's played Kansas in the tournament, he's knocked them out both times. Transfers to Kansas, gets a natty. So I mean, you got that's hats off to that. And he played good. He played really good that game. Very efficient. 4 for 6 from 3, 5 for 9 from the field. Very efficient. And honestly, you look at it, and there wasn't really like that many free throws. Like there was 36 combined. Thinking about that, so they let him play physical. I think just if you're looking at the box score, you would think North Carolina won this game just by looking at the box score. Besides turnovers and assists, turnovers to assist ratio, they were really good in every stat, in every other category. I mean, they had 49 rebounds to to Kansas 34. They had 20 offensive rebounds to Kansas 7. So that's 20 opportunities for second chance points, basically. So I mean,
I'm looking here. They out rebounded about 20.
Yeah.
It said total rebounds. Carolina had 55, and Kansas 35.
Yeah. On Bleacher Report, it says 49 to 34. So 15 either way. So
Kansas did shoot better from the field, though.
yeah, and
They shot
in return,
44%.
Yeah, and in return, North Carolina shot better at the free throw line with more free throws. So they only missed 4 the whole
very
game.
much so.
Yeah, they
shot 82%.
Yeah.
Whereas Kansas only shot 57, which is that's not good.
And neither one of them shot good from 3.
No,
Kansas only
21.
made 6.
North Carolina hit 5. They shot 5 of 23. That's 22%.
Yeah.
And then Kansas shot 6 of 17. 35. Both terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
So I mean, it was definitely an inside focus game. Definitely.
Which I'm a fan of.
Oh yeah. And you had some
Don't get me wrong.
very good players going at it inside.
Don't get me wrong. 3 is better than 2. I get that. I understand that mentality. But I'm an old head as far as basketball, even though I'm a young guy. My mentality is give the ball to the big man, let him eat.
Mm-hmm.
When they bring the double, that's when he kicks it out to the open man on the 3-point line. Then you get your 3-pointer that way.
Mm-hmm. And that's a higher percentage shot, usually, than taking a contested or a step back 3 or even off the pick and pop or pick and roll. If they go under, there's still a chance for them to contest it, rather than a kick out. They have a longer distance to travel most times when they're contesting it on a kick out than they are a pick and roll. So
I think not only in college but in the pros as well, too much fast-paced offense. They need to slow it down a little bit, and here's my reasoning for that. When you slow the game down, when you get into that grit and grind, you're forcing the other team to play defense for a longer period of time.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You're making them tired, getting them wore out. And then if you can still score on that possession,
it's a win-win.
Slowing it down, getting it down low in the post, banging down low, scoring, taking longer possessions, not doing 7 seconds or less.
Yeah.
That's a Mike D'Antoni thing.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of made that popular in the league with the Phoenix Suns back in the day. I just don't like that style of play, I'll be honest. But to each their own. I understand it can win games in certain situations, but
you gotta have the
I just
players
don't
that
think
can
it's
do it.
Right.
The players have got to be efficient at doing it, and that's kind of how it goes. So this whole tournament has been a roller coaster, like to say the least. With my favorite team getting put out by St. Peter's, then St. Peter's making the miracle run to the Elite Eight, a 15 seed in the Elite Eight. That's unheard of. Then you have obviously Coach K getting put out by North Carolina on his last game ever as a head coach.
I still claim it was luck, but maybe I'm just a hater.
It was a good game. It was a really good game. Watching it was good. Like I was impressed. I was impressed by North. I mean, I'll give North Carolina what they deserve. I was very impressed by them this tournament. Going into the tournament, well, not going into the tournament, but going into the season, my buddy, who's a North Carolina fan, says he didn't have high hopes for him. He didn't know what Hubert Davis was going to do. He didn't know how he was going to coach. He didn't know how he was going to use the team. And you've seen that early on in the season. You've seen those struggles. You've seen they got blown out by Kentucky by 30. And, like, when that game happened, I was talking to him, and he said, I don't see us making the tournament this year. Looking back on it, I talked to him here not too long ago, about 30 minutes ago, and he said that they exceeded any expectation he had of what they could do. And I understand that. Coming from a fan, if I seen Kentucky do that, I would be ecstatic. I would be mind blown at a team that done that. And being
It just
an
goes
8th
to
seed
show.
in the finals. Like, it's crazy.
It just goes to show, like they say, when it comes down to crunch time, these great players they can flip that switch when it's time to get serious.
And they
When the
had
games really mean something.
trust in him. They trusted that he would get them there. And
Right.
even back before the tournament, he told the families of the players to book their hotels there because they were going to make it to the finals.
He had that much confidence. That's impressive.
He had that much confidence to tell their families to book the hotels because they were going. And
And see
they did.
that just goes to show what a cohesive group of players and a coach, when they're on the same page, what they can do.
What they can accomplish. So, speaking of accomplishments, we're segueing kind of into well, it's still college basketball. So we're gonna segue into some of the awards that were given out. Did you, by chance, see Oscar? What he got? Oscar Sheboy? The awards that he got? Let me pull it up real quick.
I'm doing the same because I'll be honest.
You'll be surprised.
I did not see. This.
You'll be very, very surprised. I gotta pull it up real quick, but my buddy posted it, and I gotta see it. I gotta see it again. I don't know if he had it on his Twitter or not. Oh man, I gotta find it really quick because it was impressive. It was insane. But it was basically unanimous. Like, okay, here they are. He won the Wooden Award, Naismith Player of the Year, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Award, USBWA Oscar Robertson Trophy, Associated Press Player of the Year, NABC National Player of the Year, NABC Pete Newell Big Man of the Year, NCAA Consensus All-American First Team, Wooden Award All-American Team, USBWA First Team All-American, NABC First Team All-American, Associated Press First Team All-American, Sporting News First Team All-American, Wooden Award All-American Team, NABC All-District 21st Team, Southeastern Conference Player of the Year, All-SEC First Team, All-SEC Defensive Team, USBWA District 4 Player of the Year, USBWA All-District 4th Team, CBS Sports National Player of the Year, USA Today National Player of the Year, US Today First Team All-American, The Athletics National Player of the Year, Sports Illustrated First Team All-American, the Field of 68 National Player of the Year, the Field of 68 First Team All-American, College Hoops Today National Player of the Year, USA Today SEC Player of the Year, USA Today First Team All-SEC Unanimous Selection. That's his awards he won this year.
That's absolutely insane.
That is impressive. That's I mean, that's just unheard of. Like, to do all that and to think that there is even a chance of him coming back next year with the COVID years. He has said he's going to the draft, but he will not hire an agent. He is going to try. He's going to try the draft process, from what I've seen, is what he said. But he's not going to hire an agent, I don't think. As of right now, as of recording this on Wednesday, he's not hired an agent. So that's I mean, if you're an NBA team and you see those kind of accolades and you see what he done and you see his work ethic and you see his drive to get better, there would be no doubt in my mind that I would pick him at least in the top 20, maybe 25 if he slips. You know what I'm saying? Because that's someone that will work hard for you and he will listen and learn from you.
I agree 100%. And this is coming from I'm not a Kentucky fan, but listen, when a good player comes out of that program, I mean you gotta acknowledge greatness when you see it. He's a great player. I have a lot of respect for his game because he's a traditional big man. He's a bully in the paint. He's a hustler. He grabs boards. He plays defense. So I think he'd be a great pickup in the league for any team.
And he's only 6'9", so you can play small ball with him.
Very true. And not only that, but I'm sure that when he gets into the league, that they can work on his range, get him a little jumper. You know.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because he's
like
got
we
that
saw,
15 to 18 footer. He's got that.
It's like we saw with Julius Randle. He was in the same boat.
Yep.
Wasn't really much of a 3-point shooter. Now he's much more consistent. You have to guard him because if you leave him open, he can hit that shot.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Even though the Knicks aren't having the most success this season.
They're not that bad though.
They didn't play bad. They didn't have a terrible season.
No, not the usual Knicks season. But
no.
Yeah. And I know you're not very familiar with the transfer portal, are you? In college basketball.
I'm not.
Well, another Kentucky player that honestly I wish we would have seen a lot more of, Dante Allen, is being looked at by, in my opinion, a really great coach. A lot of controversies around him, but a really great coach. From what Dante stated, he is looking for a coach that trusts in, believes in his game. And one of the people that I know that have reached out to him is Rick Pitino at Iona. And if Rick Pitino gets him, I think he'll be like another Johnny Juzang. Him going like Juzang went to UCLA in the last 2 years. He's flourished into an amazing player that he would not have got the chance to be at Kentucky. And that's sad to say because there's so much talent around the Kentucky roster that players like that don't get to shine and do what they really are. Just because of the strict amount of talent that's around you. You gotta learn to play off that.
You have to play as a team.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, UCLA did really good this season. So, but the transfer portal is very weird. Because, I mean, like I said, Remy, the one from Kansas, was on Arizona State, I want to say, before that, I think I'm correct on that one. But they put out Kansas both years that he was there in the NCAA tournament. And then he transfers to Kansas and wins a title with them. So, I mean, that just goes to show that there's a lot of talent out there that's maybe beyond a team that's not using them to their potential. And when they get to a program that will use them to put their potential, they shine.
I agree.
So we're gonna do a little segue from the NCAA tournament here. I wanted to spend a little time on it. We spent about 20 minutes on it. We're gonna go to our NBA news. So I guess you've seen it by now. The Lakers are no longer in the hunt for the playoffs at all.
Yes.
That surprising? Not surprising?
It's honestly not. It's not surprising. I hate it for LeBron James, but the team just couldn't get it together. They couldn't become a cohesive unit and win games when they needed to. And so now LeBron James is once again
Not in the
not
playoffs.
going to be in the finals.
Mm-hmm. And they're planning on firing Frank Vogel also. I've seen that report going around that they're planning on firing their head coach. Honestly,
If I was
in my
LeBron,
opinion, they just need to get Westbrook out of there.
I agree. I don't think it's Frank Vogel at all. I don't
I
think
don't.
that he is the problem. I think the problem is the team itself, the roster. I
I
don't think it works.
Yeah. I think it's the higher ups that put the roster together and didn't
I do
listen when
too.
they told them to make the move. Like there was moves that wanted to be made at the trade deadline, and the front office just said no, we're not going to do it. Basically, or at least that's what it looks like from the outside looking in. It could have went a whole different way, but when the trades didn't happen, and you've seen the reactions from the players when they didn't happen. So, I mean, I just don't. I didn't. There was hope from me that they would make the playoffs. Like in my heart, I wanted to see Carmelo make it to the playoffs again. But the reality of it when it set in, I watched like their last 3 games and they just looked lost. Like they just looked like they didn't know what they were doing. They looked like they didn't even want to play ball. Besides like LeBron, even though he was out for I think 2 of those games. Did he play against the Suns the other night? I can't remember. I was half watching that, half falling asleep.
I don't. Here, let me check. I don't believe he did.
I was half watching it. So,
He did not.
but you're going up against the red hot Suns team, so I mean, I didn't expect them to win that anyway. I expected them to at least pick up 1 or 2 wins before that, though, to at least give that game as a buffer to where they could lose it and it wouldn't hurt them. But they just didn't do it.
Devin Booker dropped 32 on him.
Yeah. I mean, that was to be expected.
Of course.
I mean, I feel like that was just very expected of that to happen. But so what we've seen this far, is your prediction still the same of who you think is going to make it to the finals? You still got?
I think Milwaukee will come out of the East. I do firmly believe that. I don't think anyone will be able to stop Giannis Antetokounmpo. But as far as the West, I don't know, man.
It's a toss
Suns
up.
are looking pretty good.
It's they're looking mean. I will give them that. They're looking the more the closer and closer it gets, it just seems like the better they're playing. And that's crazy to think that you can go this good this whole season, and then when it comes down to the end of the season, you're playing even better than when you started at the beginning of the season. It's crazy. It's insane to think that. I don't think
There's just so much firepower in the West.
I just don't think in the East the problem is stopping Giannis. I think Giannis is going to get his own. I think it's stopping his teammates.
Well, that's the thing, though. That's where the problem is created because if you don't stop Giannis, he'll eat you alive. You can't just put one man on Giannis Antetokounmpo. It
No.
doesn't work. So when you bring the double or the triple or switch to a zone, whatever. Somebody's open.
Yeah, someone's
And it
always
just so
open.
happens that Giannis is a great passer. So he's going to find him.
Yeah.
The man's 7 feet tall. He can see all over the court. He's going
Mm-hmm.
to see his teammate open. He's going to hit him. And if it happens to be Chris Middleton that catches that ball, there's a pretty good chance it's going in.
Yeah. So I watched the Heat game the other night, and they've been playing really good. They've extended their lead to, I think, 3 games. I think it was. I think they're 3 games off second place in the East, if I'm not mistaken.
The Heat are the first seed.
That's what I'm saying. They extended their game. They extended it to 3 games, I think, because they played
It
against the
looks they're like
Raptors.
they're 2.5 games ahead
Okay, so the other team that
of
yeah.
the Celtics, the Bucks, and the 76ers. Wow, I didn't realize
I
that
did
the
three-way
two,
tie.
three, and the four, the two,
Wow,
three, and the four are all tied. They have the exact same record.
wow,
The
I didn't
Celtics,
realize that.
Bucks, and 76ers are all 49 and 30. They're 2.5 games behind the Miami Heat.
That's crazy. That's close. That's really close. Wow.
So it's going to come down to the very last game to
Mm-hmm.
determine who's going to be in what seed. Now in
That's
the
awesome.
West, it's done. The Suns are
Yeah.
number one
Yeah.
because the Grizzlies are 8 games behind
That's a,
Phoenix
and that's physically
at
not
number two.
possible. Because I think there's
Right.
what 6 games left. Four. There's like 4 to 6 games left for each team. Maybe even
Yes.
less than that.
There's only a few games left in the season, and the Warriors are 13 games behind the Grizzlies. If that shows you how big of a
Wow.
gap there is between the seeds in the West.
Wow, that's crazy. Uh, I did see a thing. How do you think the Warriors would play, barring Steph? Maybe I think he'll be back for the playoffs. But let's just say if he doesn't, what do you think? Like, do you think they got a
Golden State
shot?
Golden State doesn't win without Steph Curry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, That's kind of how I was. I was on.
I know they have some young guns who are willing to step up, and they'll play great. I'm sure. Jordan Poole is an amazing player.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of his, and I believe that Wiggins will step up as well.
Yeah.
You already know what Clay's going to do. I just don't think it'll be enough without Steph. I don't think they'll have enough.
I I think Steph just has a different. The game flows differently with him on the court. If that
Yes,
makes sense.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. He changes the game completely
Yeah.
because you have to pick that man up 94 feet.
Yeah.
You got to start picking him up behind the half court line because once he gets anywhere near that line, that's his range.
Wow. I was looking at
If
some of
he's
the.
feeling it, it's going to be a rough night.
I was
That's
looking.
just how it is.
I was looking at some of the box scores from Sunday night's games, and the Wizards lost to the Celtics 144 to 102. That's mind blowing. And the Suns did end up losing to the Thunder. With without but that was also without Ayton, Crowder, Booker. Like they didn't play. So take that as you will, obviously.
Now, here's a question for you.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Joel Embiid being the scoring title champion this season? He's about to get it.
Oh, that don't surprise me. He's played insane this season. He's played what everyone wanted him to do. He's doing what people wanted him to do. He's playing like how people want him to play. Because I mean, against the
LeBron
Pacers,
could theoretically win it if he decided to play in the last few games.
yeah.
But a lot of people were saying that that would be a terrible idea and that he would just be criticized for it. So,
I mean, why would you criticize him for it? He's going for an accolade. He's going for a
Right.
trophy.
And that's how I felt.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure where they're coming from with that.
yeah. It's because
I
it's
don't really
LeBron.
understand.
It's because it's LeBron. That's the only reason.
He's trying to make his legacy as great as it possibly can be. And what's wrong with that?
Exactly. And you're
I don't think he's going to. Like, I don't think he's going to play in the last few games and get the scoring time. I
no.
don't think he's going to do it.
I don't think he would
But
either.
if he did, I wouldn't be mad at it.
No. No, I wouldn't. I would
It's,
respect it because he's going for a trophy. He's going to get something.
it's, if it was me, I would do it just to prove a point. My team has played like trash all season long. I'm the best player in the league still at
Exactly.
37 years old.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you that I'm still the best player in the league by winning this. Even though we're out of the playoffs, I
Yeah.
did what I could, type deal.
Exactly. So
Theoretically, Giannis could also still get it as well. He's averaging 29.9. Joel Embiid is averaging 30.4.
I mean, yeah, it's still
He would
possible.
have to put up some big numbers though.
It also
But
depends who they play.
he definitely could. Giannis definitely could.
So, what do you think about the Bulls not being able to play Lonzo, even in the playoffs, he's shut down for the rest of the season?
They're not gonna win.
I mean, I'm looking at the game right now, and as it's the end of the third quarter, they're down by 24 to the Celtics. Which, again, that's another playoff team in the East. So, I mean, that's not saying much. But, again,
I don't
that's a
think that.
playoff team in the East. So, that's someone you're going to
Here's the
have to compete
thing.
against.
Here's the thing. I didn't realize this, but it was pointed out to me the other day. The Chicago Bulls haven't done well against a good team all season long.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, that is true. I think the top 8 teams, their records, like,
It's bad.
yeah, it's below.
It's very
What
bad.
is it? It's below like what 40%, I think.
It's extremely low.
Lower than that. Well, and I mean,
I did. I didn't realize that they weren't able to overcome these good teams. I wasn't. I guess I wasn't paying close enough attention.
but
But yeah,
also they play a fast-paced style of basketball too. So if you have a team that's
right.
going to slow you down, it's going to hurt your style. And you have Zach LaVine, you have DeMar DeRozan that are mid-range specialists. So in theory, I don't know how that's hurting them because you have mid-range specialists that could slow the game down, and you'd think it would favor them a little, at least a little bit. So I don't know. I don't know what their problem is against the good teams. I just looking at some of these. I mean, they're shooting 5 for 20 from three right now as we speak in this game against the Celtics.
It's absolutely terrible.
Zach LaVine is 0 for 5 right, as of right now, as of recording this. 0 for 5 from the three. Like, I get having a bad night. You got to know when you're not on from three and you don't shoot them. Unless it's absolutely necessary. You absolutely have to. Tomorrow night's games look. You're going to see the 76ers and the Raptors play. Again, 2 playoff teams playing against each other. Hornets and the Magic, who are the Hornets the 9th seed right now? I think they're the 9th seed right now. Going into that. So that's a big game for them. To potentially, secure a playing game. But the NBA is just, it's kind of flipped on its head, honestly. You think about it, because I know the win loss records. I know everyone says, "Oh, the East has always been a weaker conference," but I think they're more compact though. Like they're more closer together, and they're more getting up there in the upper echelon of being competitive with the Western teams. I don't know what it's been like this for the past 10 years that the West has always just been the advantage, I guess you'd say. And I never really understood it. I've never understood what made those Western teams so good compared to the Eastern teams.
I'm not sure either, man. I'll be honest, but it seems like it's always been that way
Yeah.
for as long as I can remember watching basketball.
Yeah, I don't understand. I wish I did, because it would make a lot more sense to me why there's been that much fluctuation between, like, if you took an Eastern team and put them in the West with the record they would have, how far down in the rankings they would be in the West.
I think it comes down. It just comes down to the talent, really. Because if you think about it, go back to the '90s. The Chicago Bulls dominated, fantastic records every season that Michael Jordan was on the Bulls, right?
Yeah.
The East back then looked way different than the East after Michael Jordan left.
Yeah.
After Michael Jordan left, Tim Duncan comes into the league.
Mm-hmm.
Kobe is out west. Shaq.
Yeah.
You got the Lakers. You got the Spurs. You
You
have
got,
all these,
you got the Nuggets.
like these, yes, Melo, Marcus
AI,
Camby.
Older Matumbo.
They just they just had some powerhouses. Like after Jordan left, they got a bunch of powerhouses out west, and it just changed
dynamic
the
of the league.
atmosphere. Yeah,
It shifted it. That is crazy to think about, because I didn't think about it in that way, but that's true.
because I mean, think about how many championships went to the Western Conference team after Michael Jordan retired.
Yeah.
Just thinking about the Spurs and the Lakers, just those two by themselves, those two franchises. Tim Duncan got 5, should have had 6. Then Kobe had 5. That's 10. 10 championships. That's insane.
That is insane. I It's just weird to think, because, like, I mean, all growing up I've watched, like, the great players that we see now, like LeBron, Melo, like that 2003 draft class in general is kind of when I started, like, deep diving into watching NBA. I loved watching college basketball before that, and that kind of transitioned me into the NBA, obviously watching Melo at Syracuse, and then seeing him go into the league, and, like, seeing him play good on the Nuggets, and then him getting traded to the Knicks, and him still shining at the Knicks, even though it was an Eastern Conference team. They were still a really, really dominant team. And I mean, you think about it, like you said, the Suns back then had Stoudemire, had what was his name? I can't think of his name. Steve Nash and Stoudemire when they played
Sean
together.
Marion.
Sean Marion, yeah.
Can't forget about the Matrix, man.
Yeah, like, think about that. That's, like, that was some dominant teams. And when a handful of those players got traded to the East, it's just like they kind of, like, got bogged down, I guess you could say, because the talent in the East wasn't as good. And I think that kind of brought their game down a little bit. Obviously, age with Stoudemire, and, when he went to the Knicks. But, like,
right.
I mean, you look at Shaq when he got traded to the Heat, or because he started out in Orlando on an Eastern Conference team, then got traded out west. Insane player for the Lakers, insane. Then
Dominated.
Went back to the East and won a chip with Dwayne Wade.
Dominated some more.
Yeah, and yeah.
D Wade carried the biggest part of the load, but Shaq was definitely key in winning that championship.
Oh yeah, he was there. He was a force. I mean, he was still Shaq. You still had to guard him no matter what. Like,
exactly.
If you don't guard him, he's gonna get boards and dunk on you. If you do guard him, Dwayne Wade's gonna go off. So I mean, that was two people you just had to double team the whole time, no matter what.
Basically, yeah.
Like just looking back on the league and how it was compared to how it is now. I mean, you got don't get me wrong, you got insane talent now with like the East still is very talented. Like I was saying with players like DeRozan, like Levine. You got the boys in Boston. You got Tatum, Brown. Like, there's a lot of good teams and good players. It's just, what if they were on a Western Conference team? Like Luka. What if you move Luka to the East? Or what if Ja went to the East? Like, what if you flip
They
flop some of these
absolutely
players?
they absolutely shine no matter where they go.
Exactly. But they would shine because they're just that dominant of players.
I don't think people are talking about Luka Doncic enough.
I think he flies under the radar a lot. He does. And Jaws the same way. He flies under the radar a lot.
Yeah, but I think people are starting to talk about Ja. People are starting to bring his name up, talking about best players in the league.
I mean, you look what he did for Memphis.
Exactly.
He took him from literally bottom of the barrel, like literally at the bottom. You had to dig around to find him and make sure they were
That's true,
still
but
alive.
he's not doing it alone though. Can't forget about my
Oh
boy
no!
Jaren Jackson Jr.
Oh no! Jaren started the engine, and Ja just took over the driver's seat and said, "Let's go." And all the pieces they put around him fit their game, fit their style of play. Also, so that's a shout out to that front office of what they did to make that team, to revitalize that team and bring it back to success that they haven't seen for a long time. And
Very long time.
and I think a lot of the front offices in the NBA, they're kind of not. I don't know how to explain it. Like they don't do that enough. Like when Mark Cuban got Porzingis, his idea was to build around Porzingis, right? Well, Luka came along and kind of threw a wrench in that plan
Right.
because Luka was just a generational talent. Like he was insanely talented right off the get go. I mean, you could see it. And like Mark Cuban did the right thing by shipping Porzingis and deciding to build around Luka instead. Like
I don't see why they couldn't play together though. I thought
I
their
don't
games
know.
complemented each other. He's a stretch big. He's a freak, just like Luca. They're freaks in nature. They can do everything. I don't know
I mean,
why it didn't work.
Porzingis did work the first like season or whatever when he got there. Like he did work. His stats stayed about the same, and then the next year they just steadily declined. Like
I think it had a lot to do with injuries for him as well, though, to be honest.
but yeah. I mean, injuries to any big man's gonna hinder their play, obviously. But I think him being in Washington now, he's gonna shine in Washington because he plays. Because the one thing that they did in Dallas that kind of really, I guess Porzingis wasn't really used to was 5 out. They played a lot of 5 out ball, and even when he was in New York, it was pick and pop, pick and roll, stuff like that.
Right.
And Dallas didn't do that. It was just kind of like a whole game shift for him, especially when Luka and them got there. It was a lot of 5 out. So, I think him not being used to that style of play and not being involved in he was involved in I think the stat was like 40 something percent of the pick and rolls that were done in New York, and that's what allowed him to shine and pick and pops and anything involved like that. And when he went to Dallas, it dropped by half. I think it was like 23% was what he was used in pick and rolls and stuff there, just because that wasn't their style of play. So I think he didn't adapt good to the
Five out.
change. Yeah, he didn't adapt to it, and the injuries obviously didn't help. But now that he's in Washington, that's what a lot of their style is pick and rolls, pick and pops. feeding the
I
post.
think I think he could work good with Bradley Beal.
I do too. I think that that's a 2-man game right there. That's
Right.
how it is. And I mean in New York it was triangle, so you know. I just think a lot of these front offices in the NBA don't really use their players how they should.
The way they should.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me. Whatever kind of talent you have, you build around it. You don't try to change their game
Yeah.
because obviously they're professional basketball players.
And they're good at
Their
their
game is their
craft.
game.
Yeah, they're good at their craft.
I'm not saying that they can't adapt because they can. Players' games adapt over time. That's part of it. That's part of being a great basketball player. But that's just like if Phil Jackson had decided to switch things up and not run a triangle offense on the Lakers
Yeah.
or on the Bulls.
Yeah.
I mean, that would just be ludicrous. Be
Exactly.
absolutely ludicrous. You give the ball to Mike or Kobe, let them run the triangle, and get some buckets.
Could you imagine if one of those teams tried to change it up and try to run like a 5-out, or a 5-out wasn't really, you know, being thought of back then. But obviously, like
Right.
it ran any different style. Like instead of running like half court triangle set, they ran like a 14-second offense of trying to run fast, trying to do
That
something
would have
like
been
that.
ludicrous. It
Exactly.
wouldn't have worked.
Exactly.
Not with the talent that they had.
But
They
this,
had MJ, like the Bulls in particular, had MJ, Scotty, Rodman, or Horace Grant before that.
mm-hmm,
They always had a big that was just there to rebound and play defense.
mm-hmm,
And the off guard to Jordan was always somebody who could knock down a three.
exactly.
So
Because you had
if
like
they'd have tried to play a 14-second offense, it just,
it wouldn't
I
work.
mean, Michael Jordan probably would have got some buckets, but it just wouldn't have run as smoothly. It wouldn't have been as successful.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of those players, like, they'll find a way. They'll find a way to make it work. Obviously, and Porzingis tried. He tried to make it work, but his numbers declined. His efficiency declined, and the only way that I guess Mark Cuban seen, you know, any justification was to trade him away. And I don't. I mean, I honestly don't think that's fair. Like, he didn't really get that. He didn't really get that. Like, I don't think he got long enough of a chance. But a player like that, you don't want to stunt them. You know what I'm saying? You want to
That's
let them
true.
shine. So
I think they could have found a way to make it work, though. I honestly think the way that Luka plays, how unselfish he is, how great of a passer, that he could have made it work with Porzingis, who, in my opinion, is one of the best bigs in the game when he's healthy.
mm-hmm.
I mean, the dude's 7'3" for crying out loud,
He's one
out
of the
there
most
knocking down.
versatile for sure. He's one of the most versatile bigs for sure.
He's the unicorn. I
Yeah.
mean, come on,
Yeah, like seeing
giant
someone
stretch
that
big.
big. Yeah, seeing someone that big doing the things that he could do is just like it's crazy to think. So
Staying on the topic of talented big man,
yeah,
let's talk about Nikola Jokic for a minute.
he's another one that's do anything on the court.
On NBA.com, they have him listed number one for winning MVP this season. How do you feel about that? Agree or disagree?
Yeah, I agree with it. I agree, especially since he's shown it. Because one thing that who's on the list before I make this point, just so I don't get it wrong. Who's his competition?
Okay, so on NBA.com, obviously it could be different if you look at a different website, but they got Jokic at one.
Mm-hmm.
They have Giannis at two.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have Joel Embiid at number three.
Okay. So
In my opinion, it's very close
yeah.
between those three.
Oh yeah, it's very close. And there's other names thrown around up there. Obviously LeBron. Obviously this is early in the season, like Jaw and all them. But what makes those three different than like the other ones is consistency, and they've stayed healthy. That's the thing.
I agree, but not only those two. I got to add something else to that.
Hmm.
They are the team.
Oh yeah, yeah, that is true. That is
You
very
know what
true.
I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like you take any one of those guys off of the team, take them off the court. Their teams are not anywhere near as successful as they would be with those guys on the floor.
Oh yeah, big time.
Especially the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah,
Jokic
especially with
has
no
literally
Murray.
put that right. He doesn't have his man Jamal Murray by his side this season. He's been out, so Jokic has put the team on his back.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm reading the last game that they played. He dropped 41 with 17 in a loss. They ended up losing to the Spurs, 116-97.
Mm-hmm.
That's his third 40-point game of the season. And he is 39 points shy of becoming the first player in NBA history to post a 2,000 point, 1,000 rebound, 500 assist season.
I did not know that. Wow.
He's incredible, man.
I mean,
He
even
is.
even without that, like what you said, he is the team. Like he is the team. Like without your leader in Murray there, without your floor general, without all that, he's still
He's
able.
been the floor general.
Yeah, exactly. He's still been able
And
to
he's
keep
son of,
them. He's still been able to keep them in contention in playoffs in the West. Like, you take him off, and that team's fighting for the number one pick, probably. Maybe, maybe top five.
I think they would be in the top one or two seed if they had Jamal Murray. I firmly believe that. I'm not gonna
Oh
lie.
yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
He's got them at number 6 by himself.
Yeah, that's crazy to think. He's I mean, I agree with it because like the MVP is weird because of how they do it. Because MVP is obviously most valuable player in the league, but you could break that down into so many different ways.
I think it is a combination of individual stats, but not only individual stats, but success of the team.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, and I think you also have to take into account the talent that is around them on the floor, like the talent on their teams.
Yeah.
So, for example, Jokic doesn't have, in my opinion, as much talent around him right now as the Sixers or the Bucks.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure,
So
because
that's why I agree with this list that he, in my opinion, he is number one, and he's the reigning MVP. So
I mean he shows it. Obviously. I mean honestly, if LeBron would play to if would to play like as many games as Jokic does, and to have I mean, to be honest, a piss poor team like the Lakers are, he would be up there also. If given if they were in like the top six also, or
yeah,
give them four through eight
I agree. I
because
agree with that.
because like you said, it has to deal with the amount of talent that is around you. Yes, they got Westbrook, yeah, Mr. Triple Double, but he has honestly played like dog shit. To be honest,
The
he
whole
just
season.
has. And
The
it's
whole season.
and I mean you have a team that was put together like that, that is older, that is not as athletic as they used to be. I'll be 100% honest, not nearly as athletic as they used to be. And if LeBron were to go out there and drop, I mean, he did what, 2 50-point games back to back this season?
Yes.
Then like a couple 30-point games, you know, stuff like that. He puts up those stats and plays 77 games. I give him 77, 78 games. He plays that, he would be the MVP.
I agree.
And Jokic is showing, hey, I'm healthy. Hey, my team is damaged right now because Jamal Murray is not there, and the talent that is around me is not as good as what we are ranked right now. Basically, I don't want to call them bad because obviously they're not bad. Like they're not bad players,
Right. No,
but
I'm not saying that they're bad.
but
Just
they're not a 6th seed team, honestly,
look at the talent that
talent
he
wise.
has around him compared to the other two men's teams that are also in the conversation.
Oh yeah,
The
Giannis.
Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, you take Giannis off
And
the team and they still win games. You take
yeah,
Embiid off Sixers, they still got James Harden, who you
Tobias
seen what
Harris.
he could do. Yeah, you seen what he could do. Like when he has control of everything. I mean, you seen that in Houston. So, like those two teams would be fine, and they would be playoff teams in the East. Honestly, just saying, like they would be playoff teams in the East. But if you take
Right.
Jokic off the Nuggets, they are not a playoff team in the West. They're not even close to 6th seed. They're probably 10th, maybe 10th, 11th,
I
probably.
agree 100%.
Like that is,
Just,
and that's an MVP worthy thing to say.
just listen to these stats. Listen to these stats. This is Jokic stats this season. 27 points a game. 13.7 rebounds, so we'll round that up to 14 rebounds a game. 7.9 assists. 8 assists a game. 27, 14, and 8 from your center. 8 assists from your center. The point center himself.
Yep. That's I mean,
He literally runs the Denver Nuggets offense from the post.
and I mean,
They, they play post-centric basketball, which you just
there's a
don't
lot
see.
of centers. There's a lot of centers that have that talent that could do that too. Not
If
maybe
they
at the
were given the
volume.
opportunity.
Not maybe at the volume he's doing it though.
Not yeah, they wouldn't be as good as Jokic at it,
Yeah.
but they could definitely do it. Yeah, I agree.
There's only like one or two centers that I think that could make the passes, or at least attempt, and have the
Sabonis,
potential to make it. Would be Sabonis. Would be Davis because he was a point. He
a
used to be a
guard,
point guard. Yeah,
right?
and
I love Sabonis, by the way. I'm a huge Sabonis fan. I love
yeah,
his daddy, and I love him as well. I love his game.
and you got honestly, I could see it is if they let him play that way, it would be probably Porzingis too. Because when he was in New
Yep,
York, he would do
some
that.
crazy passes.
He would do that because of the
He's
track and
definitely
offense.
got some skills.
Yeah, I still don't think any of them would be even to the volume. I think they may be 5.5, 6 assists a game, but you're not seeing 8. You're not seeing them go out and pass for 12, 13 assists a game. Like you're not going to see that. Which
I think
I think the Jokic could do that if he wanted to.
I think when Jamal Murray comes back, and like let's say we're talking next season, I think that Nikola Jokic could easily average a triple double for a season as a center,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't know if that's ever been done.
I don't. Has it been done? I don't think so. Fact
I'm gonna
check.
have to see.
Yeah, I was gonna say fact check. I'm gonna fact check it real quick. Uh, let me check this. So from what I'm seeing, from what I've seen, Jokic is already the second in NBA history for triple doubles by a center. So I have seen that.
Who's number one? It's Wilt, isn't it?
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah. So okay, so this is what this says on Reddit. It said if Jokic played as many minutes as Wilt, he would have 150 triple doubles right now. Because Wilt averaged 44 minutes a game. Jokic averages like what, 38? 38 to 40?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
So I'm looking here. A center has never averaged a triple double. The only players that have ever averaged a triple double is Westbrook, who's done it 4 times,
Yeah.
and the Big O,
Big Oscar.
Oscar Robertson,
Yeah.
the original. People who have come close though, we got Luka Doncic,
Yeah.
who right now is averaging 28, 9, and 9. He's so close.
James Harden.
James Harden's averaging
22,
22,
8, and
8,
10.
10.
Yep.
Jokic is 27, 14, and 8. And
Also
DeJounte Murray.
before that, look at the games. Can you see the games that they played this season?
Yeah. Jokic has played
10.
73.
Yeah. And Luka and James Harden
Doncic
played
and
62.
yeah.
So he's doing it with more. That's 10. That's 10 more games. That's a whole average. That's insane. That is that. Oh wow, that is crazy.
And in the 2021 season, Jokic averaged 26 and a half, 11, and 8.
So he's there.
I'm telling you, he's going
He
to be
will.
the first hitter to average a triple double in the NBA. I'm calling it now.
That's crazy. To not only be the first center, but to be the first like front court to do it, because you have LeBron at like forward. You have players like Giannis, like Ben Simmons, and to think that that talent hasn't averaged a triple double when they really can.
Ben Simmons is on this list a few times, and Giannis isn't even on this list.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. But you got any closing comments before we wrap up this podcast?
I'd just like to say I'm very excited for the playoffs this season.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't wait to see how they unfold. I think that's going to be a lot of good basketball played.
Mm-hmm.
I think the playoffs are going to be insane.
And we're going to break them down for you for sure. We're going to break down our predictions whenever the playoff bracket comes out. We're going to give you our predictions. We're going to give you our games, what we think, like what's going to happen, if they're going to win 4-3, if it's going to go game 7, if it's going to be a sweep. And we're glad to hopefully stay as consistent as we can at this. Every Thursday, barring anything happening like it happened last week when we had to upload on a Friday instead of Thursday.
Can't control the weather.
Yeah, you can't control the weather. So hopefully we get on a smooth and consistent schedule. If you look on the channel and playlist, you'll be able to see all the previous episodes. You can watch them, go back and watch them, go back and see if we switched up on anything we said, anything. Just be just I don't know how I want to put it. Just hope y'all enjoy. Honestly,
I'll add one more thing.
Yeah.
People listening, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and share the video, please.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to get our names out there. We want people to become a part of our discussions.
Oh yeah.
We want a bigger audience. So if you could like the video, hit the notification bell, and subscribe, we'd greatly appreciate it.
Yep. And with that being said, we're going to sign off, and this has been episode 4 of the David and Goliath podcast. We'll see you all in the next one.
Good night, everybody.